understand by this term, connecting or being connected? And if anybody's just joined, there's the link again to the butter scenes thing. And while you're doing that, you should be able to have some music. Nice. We've got joining ideas and people together. Nice. Just give a couple minutes for a couple of people that are still typing there. Nice. So lots of commonality there, isn't it? Connecting. Let's just have a quick look at some of these when I get into the right. When he presses the right button, it's always helpful, isn't it? So Stacey, sense of community and safety. I'm just going to ditch the jacket now. We've all got to know each other a little bit. It's getting a little bit warm in my room. Connecting, having a shared experience. Nice. Being connected. Active participant. Let's quickly flick through these. Bringing people together. Safe space to collaborate and contribute. Nice. Oops. Where did that go? Understanding one another, contributing to that relationship. Yeah, it's a two-way street thing, isn't it? The connecting thing. We'll have explore some of those ideas later. Joining ideas and people together, sharing ideas, understanding people exchange. Nice. The emotions coming through, togetherness, being heard, bouncing ideas off other people, active engagement, sharing time and space with others while being present. Yeah, the present thing, really important, sharing, relating to others by sharing bits of ourselves. Nice. So it's really important. A couple of things that I picked up that you've picked up on from when you look at some of the research. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. But so we've got two terms we're using here. So let's just explore now. But what about the word belonging? So in the same context, so we've got connection and we've got belonging. So generate a few stickies. So in the same thing, in learning and facilitation and the work that we do, what do we mean by this term belonging? So have a go at that one. I'll just find us some more music. So just a couple of minutes to do it. Oh, nice. I'm assuming you are all hearing the music while it's playing, eh? Nice. I'm not just dancing to myself here.
That's also very okay.
Oh, these are beautiful comments coming through. Let's give a couple more, just a few more seconds just for those that are still typing there. Nice. Let's have a look at a few of these. Oops, move into present. Okay, let's have a wee look at what we've got here. Comfort in the presence of others. Lovely, Stacey. Identifying with a group. It's interesting that if you listen to Brene Brown and she talks the difference between belonging and fit, I'm sure a lot of you have heard her talk on it. Feeling comfortable, safe, fully wanted, heard in a group of people. Nice, Joe. Being included and able to be yourself. That's really important, isn't it? Create a safe space for people to be their authentic self. Yeah, you're getting authentic me, trust me. Being part of something bigger than ourselves, safe and group, nice. Being your authentic self again coming through. Included equity, participate and contribute and make impact. Lovely. Something bigger than self. Nice. Being part of something and playing part in a thing. Feeling at home in a group of people. Lovely, Shireen. Feeling like you're one of them instead of feeling like an alien. Nice. Nice. Okay, so keeping on the thinking. So then we've talked about connection, and I've given you some ideas of why I think it's important in that virtual setting. So have a think now. Why do you think in those virtual settings or spaces? Now I'm going to talk pretty loose when I talk virtual setting. Might be a meeting, might be a community, might be a something like this. So let's use the term virtual space to kind of talk about anything when we're meeting online and we're working together online. Okay, so we can play quite loosely with the concept. So why is it really important to consider connection and belonging in a virtual setting? Let's have a quick look, just see if you can get a couple of ideas down here. Nice, some stuff coming through. I love how this says you're scribbling some ideas. Some of the language in here is just beautiful. You must feed that back during to the team. It's cool. How there you wouldn't have met me, Darryn. Absolutely. Oh, I like that. Some of these comments as you guys are writing are really really quite neat. So scribbling some ideas. Amy was skillfully drafting. Go, Amy. Four others are putting words together. Somebody's dream weaving. Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that come through. Shared understanding connection helps create a space where learning, challenging conversation, innovation can happen. Nice, Megan. Shaping ideas. Oh, Mango, sorry, LA Mango. So I hope I'm saying that right. Is shaping ideas to paragraph. Oh, that's cool. I'll just give it a couple of minutes. I'll just give you a little bit of music while these thoughts are coming through. Easy to get lost in remote formats. There's no touch points, interaction, feeling connected. You can read them as they're coming through, okay, eh? Yeah, the body language, Stacey. That's a really interesting one, isn't it? Sound nice. Virtual space. I hope I'm saying that right. Virtual space feels more alienating. Connection, belonging, important. Connection and belonging puts you on the same page when you're already sitting in different parts of the world. Yeah, and we heard that from, I think that's what Jenny was talking about in her session this morning. Okay, let's end the poll. Let's have a quick look there. Apart from not meeting me, eh, Kylie? Easy to get lost in remote formats and virtual settings, more effort than in person. And that's something that's really coming through. Oh, sorry, I've got the music still going. My apologies. It's something that really is coming through from a range of settings, and particularly in a cultural setting, is there's lots of stuff that you can do online, but you have to make a concerted effort to do it. So getting to know each other in this kind of setting and building relationships and working relationships can still happen. You just have to work harder at it. I had a funny story there recently. There was somebody else in another online community that I work in, and we met for the first time face to face. So it was a couple of months ago. We launched straight into this big, massive conversation, deep, meaningful conversation. And as we were parting, to go our different ways at the end of the conversation, we suddenly realized that actually that was the first time we had ever met and had a face-to-face conversation, but we'd been able to build a level of trust and rapport throughout, the interactions that we'd been having within the group setting. Virtual settings can feel more alienating, connection, belonging, making more people more comfortable to feel rapport. Nice. some of the stuff that I unpacked was the why it's important is it's about getting over that isolation and loneliness. Then it's about when people feel connected to each other in the group, they are more likely to get engaged. So you've nailed some of these things. Um, the strong connections and sense of community allows participants to be more vulnerable, to take risks, and to have more difficult conversations. There's a well-being thing. The research says that feeling socially connected is a fundamental human need. The valuable personal, professional conversations that we can have might not have been formed. So I really like this quote from John Maxwell. Until you connect with people, there will be a barrier between you and them. And I think that kind of like, it pretty sums it up, doesn't it? And I think it's talking to is that in the virtual space, creating connection is really key to transforming virtual spaces from that transactional environment to a vibrant, engaged community or a vibrant, engaged meeting if we were thinking meetings. So it's a really critical element for getting those remote and digital experiences really, really impactful and meaningful. And then we've got the belonging. And I know I'm interplaying the two words here, and there are some people that would say that actually they're quite different things. But you're right, there's Sharina, some people got some browser things. You're good with that?
I got it. I'm gonna help Candy out. You can
Okay,
continue.
alrighty, cool. So we've got the belonging. We might not like it, but we do belong together at times. I like the Dr. Dolittle quote there. So in New Zealand, well, actually, he's not in New Zealand. There's an author called Owen Eastwood, and he's written a book, which I did have at my fingertips here a minute ago. Actually, I still have it. It's here. Not doing the cell thing. Whoopsie, hang on. It is there. Got it. And it's all on the concept of belonging. And he talks about a concept. So I'm going to start interjecting here some of our cultural diversity or some of the stuff in terms of a Te Ao Māori. So when I say the word Te Ao Māori, it is Māori as our indigenous people in New Zealand, and Te Ao Māori means Māori worldview. Okay, so that just to sort of think, explain that. He took a concept of whakapapa. So whakapapa in Te Ao Māori it's deeper than genealogy, but it's your family story. It's the history of how did you get to be who you are from where you came. And in terms of Māoridom, because Māori can whakapapa right back to their creation story, they are connected to everybody and they're connected to everything that was created. So the sense of belonging becomes really important. And if you're engaging in a Māori community in New Zealand, going through the process of working out how everybody belongs and building relationship becomes really, really important. And so he took this work and he took this idea and he's used it in leadership work around the world, and helps leaders around the world find what's their identifying story, their passion, their purpose, their how do they vision their success, how do they work together with others. But there's a couple of quotes in his book that really resonated for me, and I just want to share them. Because he was talking about the belonging's not a new thing, even though the neuroscience is showing that belonging and connection is this really important thing. It's actually been with us right way back. So one of the quotes he talks about is, our ancestors deeply understood the primal need to belong before psychology or neuroscience gathered proof. It was visceral to them, part of every day and every decision. And it goes back to I'm reading at the moment Amy Edmondson's new book, The Green One, about the being what's it? It's okay to fail in your learning and stuff. And you see that come through there, where she's talking about sometimes in groups, there's a real fear of contributing to stuff or saying the wrong thing or feeling like you're going to say the wrong thing. And what she talks back to is what that quote was leaning into is that wired into our DNA is this fear that if we say the wrong thing at the wrong time, we might be excluded from the group. And it comes right back from those deep ancestral roots of the if back in the day the wrong thing was done, then somebody could be, evicted from a group, for want of a better word. And if that happened and isolation occurred, then it really was a survival thing. And so that plays out now, and that's why on our virtual settings, we need to have a wee think about it. In his book, there's a science writer, David Berreby, and he says it's not hard to see why humans should have evolved to care about their teams and the place in those teams. Relying on each other is a sound survival strategy for a fail, noisy creature. He's trying to describe us, obviously. Living in groups is a ticket to survival, which is why most primates live in them. To feel a sense of belonging is to feel accepted, to feel seen, and to feel included by a group of people, believing we belong and trusting we will be protected by them. So, something really important. How do we build that trust in our virtual settings? The interesting thing, these two quotes were really interesting. Oh, this last quote, sorry, beg your pardon, is really interesting. It says, belonging is never a state that is permanently achieved. It's something we should monitor and evaluate all the time. So we won't just achieve belonging in our virtual spaces and hold that space forever. We always have to continually keep working on it. So in adult learning, it plays out like this. So in terms of adult learning design, it can have an impact on learners. In adult education, instructional design, the space that we work in sometimes, the sense of belonging contributes to a more inclusive and supportive learning environment. And it leads to all of those things there, which we can apply to our group setting. Now I'm going to show you a different definition of belonging in a minute. And this is the one that I was starting to refer to a little bit for. So I've started using two terms, whakapapa, which is like the story of how do you became who you are, what's your family history, who you are connected to. And in Te Ao Māori, there's this concept of whakawhanaungatanga. So big long word. But if you break down this little bit here, sitting right in the middle, this word whānau here is the Māori word for family. And what do we have in family? We have relationships, we have getting to know each other, we have working together. And so there's a description here of what whakawhanaungatanga is in terms of building that sense of belonging. And if you look in there, what I want you to do in the chat, just in the moment, oh, thank you, Kylie. Yeah, right, kind of wrong was the book. Just in the chat, in the Zoom chat, from what you can see on that description of what whakawhanaungatanga is, hook out the words that you can see that you think in that description of whakawhanaungatanga that would fit with how we might go about building connection and belonging in a virtual space. Just drop the ones that you're seeing into the chat. Into the Zoom chat, that is, not the Bada chat. Nice. Promotes trust, interconnectedness, connections. Promotes trust. Community. Nice. So it's all there. One of the things that I find really interesting is this is a description of something that has been in place for hundreds of years. So the concept of whakawhanaungatanga in terms of Te Ao Māori is not a new thing. It was there way, way, way before pre-colonial times it was there. In terms of learning and in terms of building community, it's stuff that we're really, really just starting to unpack and we're really starting to resonate with. So let's do a little bit of practice. So it's kind of starting to make sense. You'll start seeing some things fall into place for a minute. So let's get to know each other just a little bit more. So what I want you to do is, whoopsie, sorry, that didn't change screen. Now, this question comes from my very favorite game at the moment, which is here. It's not my game. It's made by a couple of people who live in Tauranga, which is in our North Island. It's called Below the Surface. And I asked if I could borrow a couple of their questions. So let's answer these questions here. There's just two of them. So what's one thing that makes you happy? Let's just do a little bit of what is called whakawhanaungatanga, which is just getting to know each other. My dog Blitzen. Nice. Okay, so Megan's got a dog. We've learned Megan has a dog. Nice. Let's see what we can pull out of this where we're just going to start getting to know each other a little bit. Megan likes music. Kylie likes good weather. Shireen loves a delicious breakfast to start the day. Nice. Brazilian food. Oh, nice. That sounds good. Introducing two people who are thankful for a connection. Nice, Stacey. Connecting people with growth, people in growth. Hiking holidays. So Amy likes hiking. Whoops, I just need to get something out of my screen. Store-made ramen. Love the fresh stuff. Okay, so Abda likes store-made ramen. Okay, nice. I'm going to bring up the other one really quickly so that we can get through a couple of other bits before we finish. So let's go through here. Maybe just do the first bit so that we do this a bit faster. What's the most powerful book you've ever read? Just put the title of the book in there. If you've got time, you can put the impact in. Happiness becomes to you. Oh, nice. That sounds good. We might get more books for our book club, Kylie. Energy, Problem Solving 101. Nice. Mine at the moment is that Amy Edmondson one that I was telling you about. Set boundaries, find peace. Excellent. The Trusted Learning Advisor. Oh, I know. That's a great book, isn't it? Tuesdays with Maury. Oh, it's on my bookcase. It's right next to me at the moment, that one. Oh, no, we've got The Wisdom of Maury. We've got that one. Amanda, we'll just give a couple more minutes for this. Tao Te Ching. Did I say that right, Amanda?
They say Dao De Ching.
Tao Te Ching. Thank you. Thank you. We'll just wait for Lucas to finish his idea. So all these are questions like these, activities like these, we can drop these in. I mean, this is not rocket science to you, no. We can drop these things in, and every time we do something like this, we get little bits of insights into the people that we're working with in our virtual spaces, in our virtual settings, and all of that helps slowly build that trust and the trust and relationship and the rapport that we need. Fix the Knowledge by Brown. Wow, that sounds really interesting. Okay, so let's go dig a little bit deeper. So what about this connection and this belonging thing when we're building a virtual space? Well, guess what? I've been learning how to build one, and I am absolutely privileged that on the call with me today are a couple of people that are part of that community that we've been building now for 4 months. So the next little bit is not going to be theoretical insights that I'm going to share with you, is what I'm going to share very quickly in the time that we've got left are some of the insights that we've been gathering. So in across Australia and New Zealand, we've established this little group called Welcome Kraken L&D, or Kraken L&D Down Under. And it's a group of New Zealand and Australian learning and development professionals. We've been working together now for about 4 months, and we grew from zero. And in 4 months, there's 345 of us. And it's a really cool place where we've been experimenting. We've been doing a whole bunch of learning together about how do we build community? How do we get deep and meaningful conversations going? So we're going to show you some insights that we've been doing. So here's using the butter tool, just slightly different. Oops, hang on. I'll just give you the question. So what I did is, in a couple of the conversations that we've had recently, I went back into them and I was trying to look for where have we talked about in our community about what makes a great virtual learning experience and what contributes to that, thinking about okay, how do we build connection here? Here's some things that are from our group about talking about building connection in terms of when we're learning together. So fostering early and high interaction, creating the safe environment came through from someone. These are all anonymous, by the way. That's why it all says you, because I just built this just to see if we could use this as a presentation. Create comfort and inclusivity for all participants was really important. The relationships, memorable feelings, progress gradually from light to deep connections. So connections occurs over time. clear rules and engagement, breaking away from one-to-one communication. Elicit emotional responses was something that was seen as important. And then choosing authentic and engaging presenters. So we explored that. And then one other conversation that we had, which was really interesting, is we started probing, but how are we going as a group? How do we get more comfortable and confident in sharing ideas and thoughts and asking questions and talking about the work that we're doing as a community? So here's some thoughts around that. So you saw the trust come through as being important. More open to posting and sharing when we get to know each other. So the virtual settings we're having in our community are really helping, or the virtual get-togethers that we're having. This is really interesting, and we've been working really hard on this, is watching for cliques, or clicked, is that the right word? So that new people coming into the group feel that they can take part. And so that's something that some of us who have been in there for a while are really thinking through really hard now, is how do we encourage newer people to the group to take part when you might have 4 or 5 people that are quite comfortable with having conversations. How do new people feel when those conversations are going on? Supporting new members in their comments and their posts. I'll just flick through some of these. People engage when they see value. The trust, feeling, safe, respect, and connection comes through. Sharing positively. Positive intent was something that came through the other day. Feeling safe and connected to the group. Engaging with each other's comments and deliberately engaging with comments was seen as something vital for building connection. And showing respect as if the person was standing in front of you. So just because we're behind the screen, that not using that so that we're hiding behind the screen. And the face-to-face events that we have are really important. So kanohi ki te kanohi is te ao Māori for, or reo Māori for face-to-face. So there's some things from our community that were seen as being really, really important. And then over the last couple of days, I probed a bit deeper because I put these slides back to the group and said, what do you think? And so as we were planning for this workshop, I said to the group, I asked them 2 questions. So I said, in terms of our virtual space, how do you think we're going with building a sense of belonging in our group? And if there's something better that we could do, what is it that we could do? And here's some of the stuff that came through. So I've said to the group I was going to share these, but they're all done anonymous. So being a newbie, I heard about the group before, but I wasn't sure how I would fit. So being introduced and invited by another member helped. It really brought the connection piece to life. I think regular interaction both online and posting and gatherings has helped build connection, and it made it easy for people to read along and get involved when they want to. One thing we could do better is some coffee catch-ups. Consistency, regular events and prompts, and good summaries. Somebody talked about multiple options to connect and choosing which ones they'd like to tap into and having things at different times, different days, a range of different topics, a range of different purposes, and said that it was actually empowering to have the choice. Somebody said regular spaces to introduce ourselves. It's helped put names to faces, or faces to names, I think it is, isn't it? The tone that's used in messaging. The tone's been described as being normal, shows humanness, shows easy to connect. The voice of the group is authentic. It's fresh, it's fun, it's collaborative, it's not pretentious. Everyone brings something to share and keeps it real. So I thought that was really cool feedback from the group themselves in terms of how we're doing. And it's something that we're going to keep building. When I checked back and said, but what's the most important thing? The one that's come out so far is the most important thing is the use of plain language and conversational tone. So keeping it real, I guess, is the main thing out of that. Keeping it real, keeping it engaged. Now, I'm just conscious that we're getting really close to out of time. Shireen, what time do you want us to actually finish and wrap up?
I think 5 minutes before the hour ends so that we can prepare for the next session.
Okay, so we got about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hope this is making sense, because what I want to do now is then I got curious to see what the AI tools would say. So I'm going to try something really quite different here, and I'll skip through a couple of bits just in terms of time. So this is just also modeling how you can bring Miro into butter if you haven't seen it before. So let me get this going and let me just get the present going for a minute. Oops. And let me go back to the frames. Hopefully for you, it should have actually opened on there. So Darryn the human went and had a little bit of chat to Claude the AI about what it thought about connection and belonging in virtual space. And I'm just going to flick through quickly through some slides. It was really interesting and it showed that value of really digging into your AI tools when they're giving you something. So remembering, we've got to check the AI stuff, okay, team? So it's not guaranteed. And that's an animated me, by the way. I was animated this year. It was quite an interesting experience. And no humans were harmed, by the way, in terms of this AI's experience. So I asked Claude, what did it think was getting in the way of great engagement happening in virtual settings? And you can scan those, okay? You can have a look at these. You'll get the notes for these later on. What I thought was interesting in this slide, and what I did, by the way, I took the Claude stuff and I dumped it into the AI in Miro, and I said, can you turn it into a set of bullet points? So these bullet points are formed by the new AI tool in Miro. So I didn't write them. It was Claude bullet points into Miro, and I asked Miro, can you turn them into some stickies for us to have a look at? What's interesting here is the fear of speaking up, the cultural differences, limited opportunity for informal networking, dedicated space, and really interesting, the isolation and disconnection thing came up on this particular slide. So then I said to Claude, well, I'm a bit more curious about that. What's going on in that space? And so it brought up these things about, okay, so in terms of isolation and disconnection, then this is what's going on. And the few things that I particularly noticed on here was it's hard to feel emotionally seen. It's hard to gauge engagement. It's difficult to build trust without physical presence and the absence of cultural connection rituals. So I thought those were really interesting. So then I got a bit more curious. So sorry, we'll just go through these quickly so you can get them. Then I said, but basically what stops it in a LinkedIn community? Because that's what Kraken L&D is. It's a LinkedIn community of 345 people now who are meeting together and talking together quite regularly. So what stops it in there? And it's really interesting, the lurking, but then lurking is okay. People read stuff and take it in anyway. Is it appropriate for LinkedIn? The fear of appearing less expert or knowledgeable was really interesting. Hard to maintain consistent engagement when you've got competing priorities, and that's a reality. The time zones, and for some people it's being unclear on if they're investing time in the group, then are they going to get a return on that investment? So then I still got curious. I said, but what about when we got virtual settings across cultures? What's going on there? And here's some of the things here that popped up. Creating structures to share cultural context, normalizing checking for understanding across cultures, opportunity first for that low stakes sharing first. That was a really important thing. Oops. And then I said out of that previous slide, which one of those things most help create a sense of belonging? And the thing that it said is the most important thing is the community rituals and structure. So what are our rituals and our practices that we're doing? And what's the structure that we're giving around? So we haven't got time to model it, but one of the things, actually, we might just do it quickly. Kylie, are you still online?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so here's an example of how we start all of our face-to-face meetings to just value and appreciate the two different cultures that we have going in Kraken L&D. So we start with a karakia, and then we offer our Australian colleagues the chance to do what's called an acknowledgement of country. So Kylie and I are just going to show you what we do with that, which means that I'll just repeat the one that I did before. So whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kena kena ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e hi aki ana te atakura, he tio, he hoka, he hohu, ti hei, Māori ora.
Yeah, great. And so I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we're all dialing in from today. So for me, that's the Camaragal people in Northern Sydney, and I pay respect to elders past, present, and future. Thank you.
Thanks, Kylie. So all we're trying to do is something small when we start our meetings so that at least both of our respective cultures between New Zealand and Australia feel like there's been an opportunity, an environment by which they can take part. And there's a whole bunch of other things we have. We have Monday mulls, Sunday vibes. We have welcome messages. We've got a welcome module, all sorts of things. I think there's only one more phrase because then I got cheeky with Claude and I thought, well, does Claude know anything about, but what about Kiwi and Aussie settings? And it actually popped up some quite interesting things. It was very interesting to pick up the trans-Tasman rivalry connection points between Australians and Kiwis. There's a lot of banter that goes on between the two countries that gives us quite a unique characteristic for how we work. So we'll leave that one there. Now that was a bit of rush through there, but it's cool. Hey, you can just use, all I'm doing is modeling. You can use AI to do some thinking and bring it into a setting to go, and what do we think about the thinking that it did? And what opportunities does that create for us? Now we got to start wrapping up. And you're right, Peter Boyd, I get you with that one. We've got to just start wrapping up. So what I would like to do, and I appreciate that there was a lot of talking in that last bit, but really what we want to share from you, that's practical experience of us trying to build a community and give it a go at how do we get the connection and that sense of belonging going in our group, which is only about 4 months old, but we're having a lot of fun doing it. So let's finish with, whoopsie, sorry, let's click on the right thing. So to round off, and I'll finish with a karakia and I will chuck back to Shireen. What's something that's really resonated for you during this session for so far? Drop it into the poll and would love to hear some of your feedback. And Shireen, the friendly rivalry, that's great. Yes, it is. It's good. There are big debates going on about who created the Pavlov, but I think we sorted that one, didn't we, Kylie?
There's a debate in the chat about who's better at sport right now.
Yeah, it's the All Blacks. A world of beautiful minds. Nice. Reaffirm the need to be deliberate. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Let's just give people a few others. Oh, I forgot the music again.
Ile nizo kununua ziko wapi? Nizo kununua kubwa utenseli zilizolani.
We got connection is essential, important to acknowledge connection, contextual to different cultures. Yeah, absolutely. Traditional, non-traditional practices. Nice. Connection, belonging to make the interaction meaningful. Beautiful, Rosal. I'll just let a couple more people drop their ideas in. Creating space for people. Using Te Ao Māori to really build connection. Yeah, and Amy, just acknowledge that. I'm the same. I'm Pākehā, so for those that don't know that term, it means, like me, white, middle class, European descent is what the term Pākehā would refer to. And I'm doing a lot of learning in the space of how do I value and honour a culture that's not mine, but as part of our New Zealand culture. Connection helps us see who will be all included. Deliberate effort and design. It does. Hey, that's awesome. I have totally enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I hope that it has been a really interesting experience for you. Hope you've got some stuff. It looks like you have. You've had we've given butter a little bit of a workout. I'm really enjoying my butter experience. I've been playing with it for a few weeks now and I'm just absolutely loving it. So butter team, thank you, and thank you for this. I'm going to end with a karakia because if you open with a karakia, you have to close with one. Otherwise, the meeting and the event stays open from a Te Ao Māori point of view. So we need to close that off. So let me find it with, whoops, hang on, let me get it for you guys. Sorry.
maybe before you close it up, I'll just say some final words.
Okay, sure.
So I've just pasted something in the chat because this festival is part of our way to celebrate our launch for Butter Scenes, which is the tool you've been doing the whole activity with, beautifully designed by, the activity was beautifully designed by Darryn. Thank you for using all the different features there. Thank you everybody for participating. So number one is please support us on Product Hunt for the launch. We have a link there in the chat. I've also put Darryn's LinkedIn there if you'd like to connect with Darryn there. And also there will be another session after this. The festival is not over. I've also added the link there for Anna Franson's session. And now I'll pass it back over to Darryn to close the session.
Thank you. And what you have there is what's called a whakatoki or a saying. So, e hara take toa I te toa takitahi engari he toa takitini, which means success is not the work of any one individual, but the work of many. And I'm sure that's led to the success of this, Shireen, in terms of the work you guys have all been doing. So to close, whoopsie, sorry, click on the right thing. So karakia whakamutanga, which means the ending karakia, kia whakairia te tapu, kia wātea ai te ara, kia turu ki whakataha ai, kia turu ki whakataha ai, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. And that means restrictions are moved aside, so the pathways are clear to return to everyday activities. For some of you, that may be a walk. For some of you, that may be the next session. Enjoy, and thank you for joining in this afternoon with me.
Thank you, everybody. Feel free to unmute if you want to thank Darryn. I see that there are messages in the chat as well, but if you want to say goodbye or thank you, feel free to unmute. And if you're joining the next session, I'll see you in the next session.
Thanks, Rain. Bye.
Okay.